Welcome to Being in Business, the podcast, with me, Lou Portis, the podcast for soul-centred female entrepreneurs who want to encourage more ease, balance, flow and joy into their businesses. This is the first episode of the podcast, and so I wanted to take the opportunity to say hi, welcome you here, and to introduce myself to you and to tell you a little bit more about where I see our journey together going and who this podcast is for. So, let's begin. My name is Lou Portis, and I am a self-worth embodiment coach for female entrepreneurs. Essentially, what that means is that I work with them to empower them to get clear on what they really want in their lives and businesses, to connect with their inner knowing, and to ultimately make more conscious choices about how they choose to show up in the world for themselves, those who they serve, and their businesses. I came here from a background that is very different to what I'm doing now. I was a corporate worker, I was a lawyer, and I learned things during my time in the law from working in that kind of commercial business, as we all do when we come from that kind of corporate background, that I brought in with me into my first business. And I have since discovered that a lot of those things were not helpful to me. They created limiting beliefs within me, which actually didn't help me in that first business. And so when I set out to start another business, I started from a very, very different mindset and intention. And that was to never lose sight of me in my business. And that's what I've been doing every day that I turn up to my desk ever since. And that's what I want to share with you. And that is what I share with the women that I work with. And it's so easy for us to people please, even in our businesses, to forget that we have sovereignty and autonomy every time that we show up in our businesses, usually at our desks for most of us, and that we do not need permission for any of it. And that's why I'm here. Because I want to empower you, my listener, to start believing in yourself, to start valuing yourself in your business. Because when we start doing that, that is when the magic happens. That is when you feel ease, balance, flow, and joy. It sounds easy, I know. And I also know that it's not quite that straightforward. And that is why I wanted to begin this journey of sharing my truth, sharing my knowledge, sharing my heart here with you in this podcast. So who is this podcast really for? Well, it is for you if you're a soul-centred female entrepreneur. It is for you if you want more ease, balance, flow and joy in your working day. It's also for you if you're curious. It's also for you if you're already there, because through my words and conversations with other incredible women in business, you might happen upon something that just flips the script for you. And that's really what my work is all about. I believe that starting small is the key to success, whatever success means to you, in any of this. It's in taking time to think about the ideas that we hear, suggestions from others, and connect with whether they really, truly resonate with us and whether we feel we can make the most of these things in our businesses. Now, I do want to say that I know, and I believe and I teach that there are certain unavoidables in business. There are certain things that we all have to do. I'm thinking the legal stuff, taxes, accounts, all of that kind of thing. And likewise, marketing, sales, other topics like that. And in all of that, I think we've forgotten as women, we've forgotten because of the cultural norms, the families, the countries, the societies that we've grown up in, particularly if we've grown up in non-entrepreneurial families, we've forgotten that there are so many ways to get from A to B, and that yes, we might need to be present on social media, but we can do that in our own way. We can even become friends with our accounts in our own way. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, because we are all unique, magical beings. We all learn, create, and be in such different ways. Yet we've been culturally conditioned to believe that we have to show up as a carbon copy of the next person in order to feel whatever success is to us. And that is just not the case. And increasingly, I'm feeling this pull to empowerment, both for myself and for other women, to connect in with our essence, to connect in with our being. That's why I call this podcast Being in Business. The be is such a crucial part of it, because in letting go of what we think we know, in letting go of what we've been taught and starting to listen to that small voice inside, we actually reconnect with ourselves. And we've become, many of us, me included, so disconnected that can feel scary, can feel sometimes like an uphill struggle. And sometimes something that we don't want to make space for. However, when we do make space for these things, we're also making huge space for ourselves, and we're creating an energy in our businesses which serves ourselves and therefore enables us to serve others better. Because we know who we are, we know what we're about, we know who we be. And that is really the essence of why I've created this podcast. It's who I be. It's who I am in the world. And it's a message that I would love for as many women in business and women without business to hear, to resonate and to grow with. thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself by listening to these words. And thank you for being open to thinking differently and connecting with yourself differently. It makes me so excited to think that I can be part of a movement which empowers women to treat themselves more kindly, which empowers women to connect deeply with their self-worth and to detach that self-worth from the things that actually don't make us feel any better about ourselves, to detach our self-worth from what other people think of us, from any permission we feel we need to get, from being applauded by other people, from how much we earn, from those conventional ways of thinking about success. It just makes me so excited that I can be part of that movement, that we can be part of that movement together. And I am so grateful to you for being here and for taking this time for you to be with me and to begin that process of deep inner connection and clarity. Thank you for listening, and join me next time when we will be going deeper into being. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Being in Business, the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you subscribe, and I'd love it if you'd also consider leaving a review. They really do make a huge difference. If you'd like to know more about me, please join me in my free Facebook group, Self-Worth and High Vibes for Female Entrepreneurs, which you'll find in the show notes. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook.